Ladies and gentlemen, pray be upstanding for the worshipful, the Mayor of the Borough of Broxtowe, Councillor Janet Patrick.
So for those who wish to, let us pray. Let's firstly begin by giving thanks for Janet in her mayoral year, a year full of challenges. Give thanks for her dedication and her determination to serve and to reach out in compassion. We thank you for the way that she's led us in these extraordinary times. And we pray today especially for Richard and for David as they assume new offices, for the year ahead, that they may be blessed in their work and enrich the lives of the people that they will meet and work alongside. We continue to pray for our chief executive and leader, all our officers and councillors, especially those newly elected as they begin their work in and for the borough, that all might keep the ideal of civic service at the forefront of their minds and act with wisdom and integrity. We pause to give thanks as well this evening for Tony Ford, former councillor who has recently died, for his many years of service in our local communities, and for Kay, his wife, in her grief. Looking across the borough, we continue to pray for those who have been adversely affected by the pandemic, and especially for those who've lost loved ones to COVID. For our local NHS and frontline services, and our local public health services. So, Lord our God, help us always to be thankful every day for the blessings we enjoy and receive, that we may not take them for granted at this or any time. To appreciate the people around us, our families, our friends, our neighbours. And as we emerge from lockdown, help us to remember those on the margins, without power or influence, and to use our power and influence wisely and for the widest good. Amen.
Are we all here, or are we still waiting for some to join us? Well, I don't know the start. Fine. Fellow councillors, chief executive and officers in attendance, I am so pleased to welcome you face to face at this annual general meeting of the council, especially as we have not met like this for more than a year. I also welcome past mayors, freemen and aldermen, and members of the public who have joined us virtually this evening. Tonight's meeting is being live streamed so that it can be viewed at home by members of the public. A subtitled recording will also be made available in the coming days. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand and we have microphones for you to go to when it is your turn. Face covering should be worn if you need to get up from your seat and move around the room, unless you happen to be exempt. Hand sanitizer is available throughout the building, but please ensure that you follow social distancing measures at all times. I think we have already heard my first piece of news, which is a sad piece of news. I'm so sad to inform you of the death of former councillor Tony Ford. Tony passed away last Friday after a very long illness. Tony was a councillor for Towton for 25 years, and his wife said he put his heart and soul into it, He remained treasurer of Towton Greenwood Centre until he passed away. And we send our deepest condolences to Kay, who'll be watching this now, his wife. Before I ask any councillors if they wish to say a few words about Tony, please join me now in a minute's silence that we may honour his memory. Thank you. Do sit. Now, I would ask any councillors that would like to speak about Tony Ford, please, to come. And who would like to go first? Milan. Thank you. Councillor Radulovic.
Madam Mayor, fellow councillors, members of the public, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to just say a few words, if I can, about Tony Ford, a person I knew very well. I remember the first day he was elected in 1987. He was a member, but he was one of 4 Lib Dem councillors elected in 1987. As a relatively young person in those days, I can remember him with a great deal of fondness and affection. I'd previously been elected the year before at a by-election, and that was my first time in 1987 in a full election. And so as a new person, it was a new beginning for many people. I knew Tony throughout his period in 1995 when he unfortunately lost his seat, but regained it again in 1999 and served on the council till 2015. A total of over 24 years, Madam Mayor. It's a very sad occasion for us tonight, and I hope that Kay and his family will all take great comfort in the fact that he served the community to the best of his ability. He was a kind, warm-hearted person who I speak of very fondly tonight, Madam Mayor. My deepest condolences, and those on behalf of all councillors past and present, and I hope these words will be passed on to the family to give at least some comfort during this very difficult time at the loss of Councillor Ford.
Thank you. Councillor Richard Jackson, next, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a sad occasion. I have very, very fond memories of Tony, stretching back not quite to 1987, but for at least 25 years plus, believe it or not. A great campaigner, Tony was, and taught us a great deal back in the time. And he always said he took these ideas from the Liberal Democrats. I think it's testament to how well connected Tony was and how well thought he was. The number of different people from different organisations all over the south of the borough that contacted me Friday, Saturday and over the weekend to tell me this sad news. And I think it speaks volume. It's been some time since he was an elected representative, but he's still very highly thought of by all of us, but by the community that he served so well as well. And he will be sadly missed. My thoughts and the thoughts of my group and our condolences are with Kay tonight. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Councillor Lydia Ball.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. When Richard rang me and told me that Tony had died, I was really, really upset because he was always somebody there at the council chamber, always said when he met you, he was always pleased to see you. He was always, and of course, the big thing with Tony and I was, he used to say to me very regularly, "Of course, you're the same age as me, aren't you, Lydia?" I would say, "Yes, Tony." And so we often used to sit together. And when we were in full council, he used to say, "Oh, there's so-and-so's going to speak now. I know what he's going to say. And I know what she's... Oh, no," he used to say. "Oh, he'll be going on for ages, you know." And I used to say, "Tony, for goodness sake, will you stop it? You're making me laugh and you'll get me into trouble again." So I really enjoyed his company. As Richard and as Millen's already said, he was very dedicated to Broxtowe Borough Council and to the people. He was a good councillor and he was good fun as well. And I'm really sorry for Kay, and I'm thinking about her. So I was really, really sorry to hear that, because when you've been around too long like me, you get very fond of people and you like to see them. So I say to Tony, goodbye, and it was really nice to have known you. Thank you.
Next, thank you. And then Philip.
Thank you. Yes, I was very saddened to learn of Tony's death. Of course, I didn't join until become a councillor until 2003, so he'd already been a councillor for 6 years. And I do have to actually put some things right. That he was never a Liberal Democrat.
No, he wasn't.
He was a Liberal,
yeah.
And he took great umbrage to joining up with people like me from the SDP at the time. But I have to say, it never came across as that. He was always very friendly, and we used to have a laugh and joke, and I can remember that, Lydia. But if you remember, towards the end of his being a councillor, you could actually hear him saying it, which was even funnier. So he will be missed, and he'll be remembered with great fondness. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, when I mentioned Liberal Democrats to his wife, she said, no, Janet, Liberal. And a speaker from the back, please. Thank you, Philip Owen.
Madam Mayor, fellow councillors, ladies and gentlemen, I too am very saddened to hear of the death of Tony Ford, who I consider to be a political friend and ally, because I was a member of the council before he joined us. And it's amazing really how memories differ or fade with age, because I always thought that he had started off as a member of the SDP, but then I'm told tonight that he was a member of the Liberals. But all I know is that he had a road to Damascus conversion and saw the light and the common sense that prevailed in later years, and decided, once that unholy alliance between those two organisations, parties, or whatever you want to call them, when it took place, he saw the error of his ways and immediately joined the Conservatives, and he was a true and loyal supporter of the Conservative group at Broxtowe Borough Council. And yes, he, I suppose to some extent, was like me, said what he thought and thought what he said. And that's no bad thing, I don't think, in politics, although the code of conduct these days tends to preclude us from saying a lot of the things that we perhaps ought to. But Tony was a good councillor, and he had the ability, which is not seen in many of the councillors that we have today, of actually being able to deliver a speech off the cuff. He never used notes. He knew in his mind what he wanted to say, and he was able to say it with clarity and a lucidness that escapes many, many councillors today, I'm afraid. So farewell, Tony. I'm very sorry that you've gone. I know that he'd been ill for an awful long time. He was a public health nightmare, I have to say, because I don't think he ever gave up his smoking, despite pleas from us for him to do so. But I'm so sorry he's gone, and my condolences go to Kay and any of the family that are left behind. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who wishes to say anything? Well, we all send our condolences to Kay, his wife. Now, for some happier news, I would like to, and I'm going to stand for this, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to two new councillors joining us. Councillor Sean Danheimer, who has been elected to represent Beeston Rylands. Sean, would you just give us a wave? And Councillor Sue Patterson, who's been elected to represent Stapleford South West. I know she has been unavoidably detained, but I know that she's on her way and will come as soon as she can. We also congratulate all councillors who have been elected onto the County Council this evening, and we offer our commiserations to those others who worked hard but were not successful this time. And now then, let us move on to the council agenda. And we begin with apologies for absence. Have we got apologies? I think we have some apologies for tonight, please. Richard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have a number of apologies, but I think because these are apologies mainly from members who are concerned about their own health and have decided with underlying health conditions not to attend this physical meeting, I don't actually want to name them. I don't think it's fair to them to do that. But if I can just note my thanks to the Leader and the Chief Executive for arranging a way in which they can be counted as being here because they're here in spirit, even though they're not here physically.
Yes. Is that the total of the councillors that cannot be with us? Is there any? Well, Hannah, would you like to?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor Ian Tyler is on jury service, I understand, and in a very difficult case, which is going to take a number of weeks, so he gives his apologies for this evening's meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. That's item 1 on the agenda. We now come to the second item, which is declarations of interest. If you have either pecuniary or it's technically non-pecuniary, other interests that you need to declare, this is the time for them to be declared. None, thank you. Now we come to item 3, the minutes, which are on pages 1 to 12. We come to approve the correct, if this is as a correct record of these minutes, I would like to ask for a proposer, please. Milan, thank you.
Madam Mayor, I formally submit that the minutes of the meeting held on the 3rd of March 2021 are a true and correct record. I formally move.
Seconded by Councillor Carr. All those in favour, please raise their hands. All those against? And any abstentions? Thank you. Have you got that? Thank you. Right. Now then we come to the next item, which is item number 4, the Mayor's announcements. Give me half a minute. But before I begin my final speech as a mayor, I have a very pleasant duty, something I'm very pleased to do. And I have to say that it is my great honour to present past the mayor from the last year before me, Councillor Michael Brown, with his past mayor's badge. We were unable to present it when he finished his term of office due to the pandemic, so I am very pleased for you to receive it this evening. Councillor Brown, will you come forward? No. I think I can't touch it. So I think that you must take it and then, would you like to speak to us, Mick?
I would indeed, yes, thank you, Janet. Madam Mayor, Janet, I'm very pleased to be here tonight by the courtesy of the NHS.
Yes.
The wonderful care and attention that they've given to me, and indeed other members of this council. I'm only too pleased to note that I wasn't mentioned in an earlier address. Oh. Thank goodness. So, Madam Mayor, it gives me great pleasure to receive this, I think we call it a jewel, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed my term as Mayor, and I'm only too sorry that it was cut short. And indeed, Janet, you were stuck in a very invidious position whereby you've not been able to go around visiting as much as I did.
No.
The joy I had in meeting people, as past mayors present tonight will tell you the same, the joy in meeting the people in our community centres and the people who dedicate their lives to help elderly people, injured people and the like. It is such a pleasure to go round. The people that we met in this borough, and I'm sure it's just a pity, Janet, that you didn't get round to see them. So I can only wish that your successor has a little bit more, what should we say, enjoyment and success in getting around the borough like we did. So all that remains to me, Madam Mayor, is to thank you and also fellow members who made me so welcome at various venues as we went around the borough. There was always a warm welcome, particularly from members who came out to meet us and open the car door for us, for Margaret to see that we arrived safely. And yes, the greetings were wonderful and spontaneous. Again, Philip referred earlier that Tony Ford, the late Tony Ford, could speak from the hip, if you like. And I found this a lot, that when people made us welcome at these centres and at various functions that I went to, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So, Madam Mayor, all that remains for me to say to you is thank you so much, and thank you for what little bit you've had to do. I will just make one comment.
If you turn, people could see you a
yes,
bit
indeed.
more. I should have sent you to the lectern.
My fundraising was for the City Hospital for the Trent Cardiac Unit, which I'd had treatment from in previous years, 2009 and 2013. And sadly, I didn't raise as much as I'd hoped to, but it went to recreating a garden that had been neglected. So I made that my target. Sadly, we didn't raise a deal of money, it was about £3,500. And I was absolutely delighted, I think it was in July, to receive a call from the office. Would you like to go to the City Hospital to be present at the opening of this garden, which the funds which we raised throughout the borough helped for this garden to be reinstated. And it was such a joy to be present with some of the surgeons who work at that hospital, and also Gary Moran, who I knew from many years ago, who was the manager of the Panthers. And ironically, I was wheeled up and down by the side of this garden which had been resurrected several times during February and March when I was on my holidays in the City Hospital. So it was quite a joy to see that other people could enjoy that garden, which you good people and the people of this borough helped me to raise money towards. So I thought that was really good, because we raise money for a lot of these things, and it may well be sometimes we never see what it goes to, we never see the end product. But in this particular case, I was delighted to enjoy that, and I think I really wanted to make a strong point of that, because the nurses and the doctors were so pleased that this borough, and my name is there, the Broxtowe Council, my name is on the board, to show that the efforts were well appreciated. So, Madam Mayor, all that remains for me to say is thank you so much, and I look forward to taking part in many, many more occasions for this Borough Council. There's the medal. Sadly, Janet, you appear not unable to do
I'm sorry.
the honours, but that's what it looks like, so I will take great delight when we have functions and I can use this recognition. So, thank you all.
And thank you, because you had a hard time in hospital and you were one of the bravest men I know, and how hard, and we're so pleased you are here. I'm delighted to say. I wanted to give you a hug, but that would finish me off.
Thank you very much, Janet.
Thank you. And now, to continue, I'm reflecting on this past fascinating year. This past year will always be remembered for the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. For my part in this, I can say that it has been a most special and particular honour to have been the Mayor of Broxtowe at such a time. So never feel sorry for me, friends. I have been proud to represent the borough at 291 engagements. Those, my husband reminds me, most of them were on the telephone. But it included a number of physical, COVID-secure events like the VJ Day, Remembrance Sunday, and very recently, a service of remembrance for His Royal Highness, the Duke of Edinburgh. And that was absolutely inspirational. It was wonderful to be there. I have thoroughly enjoyed the occasions when I have been able to meet local people in a COVID-secure way, such as recently the reopening of the Nottingham Casuals Rugby Club a few weeks ago, where both boys and girls played. It was a terrific evening. Now, in the absence of the traditional public activities of the Mayor, many of the councils reduced their civic work. But in Broxtowe, not the case, thanks to really the amazing work of the communications team led by Sarah Tidy, we instead took up new opportunities, such as using video, Microsoft's Teams, social media, and our Email Me service. I have attended virtual tea parties. One of my favourites, I have to say, was the one with past mayors. We had such fun. I can only tell you we had real fun that day. We've met virtually with so many community groups and residents, our friends in Germany and Poland, and we held our first ever civic service virtually. Over 350 people attended. It was so good that Milan said to me, "You better do a Christmas one." I thought, oh no, surely not. But we did it, and especially with the help of Wayne Plimmer, who has been my chaplain, we had tremendous times. They were not just for local people, lots and lots of people came. And perhaps the one, well, I mustn't compare them, but I think it was the Holocaust Memorial Service, when we saw all sorts of people. And I can remember so many of those images. I'm a special needs teacher, some of my old students. And then there was Jay, who was stunning. And the message got over. Over 500 people watched that. So I think there's much to learn. Not that I'm desperate to get back to the old ways, I know, but then I'm very old. But I think we should have a combination. We've got so much to learn from this year. And though we have been physically separated, we've actually reached more residents than ever before. And this is one of the reasons, and I do not claim the credit myself, why the civic team, won 3rd place in Civic Office of the Year. That's a very high honour. Those awards were back in March. And I would like to thank, and I hope they're watching, Anna, Michelle with a new baby, and Sarah in the civic office, and everyone who has supported me as mayor. And I'd also like to welcome Paula. There she is. Our new civic officer who is here with us tonight. I think she'll be wonderful, and we're very, very glad to have you. Now, despite living in the worst of times, I think we've been living also in the best of times. Communities old and new rose up to support the residents of Broxtowe. And I'm delighted to have been able to recognise some of these people during my year in office. I've been able to send mayor certificates of appreciation to 29 local people, but that's no indication. There's hundreds of people, names of which will be listed in the Broxtowe Matters. And to thank these individuals, they never did it for any thanks, but to thank them, we decided to enter them in a prize draw to win a ticket to join us, folks, at the VIP launch event at the cinema on Thursday, the 27th of May. We drew the names from the hat, and 10 of them will be joining them, and I am very fortunate that I am going too. I have been bowled over by the sheer generosity of local people. Amazed at it. Firstly, exceeding our target back in May, our target was £10,000 to support the Broxtowe Community Appeal. We actually raised £19,000, and it just came in. Lots of individuals, lots of small amounts, lots of charities, businesses have risen up and been marvellously supportive. And then we went on to the Mayor's Christmas appeal, which I must thank Teresa for that, but I have to say that it was because we also worked with schools and with 8 food banks as a community. It was not Broxtowe, and it's wonderful to do things as a community and not just as a council. There we raised very quickly, because we started rather late, as we did realise, we raised £11,000, and we delivered 400 Christmas hampers and food vouchers to be spent in local shops. And particularly the butchers, let me tell you, did extremely well. But we were very glad to do that. Now, it has been a difficulty, of course, raising funds for the Mayor's charity when we couldn't really have any events taking place. But we have raised nearly £2,500 through virtual events, COVID-secure sponsored walks, cycle rides, and a wonderful bake-off competition that I judged, and it raised £800. So all over Broxtowe, people have been working hard. My personal highlight, I think it was when it was pouring with rain, and I took a hamper to an old lady, and she looked at it, and she cried, and I cried, and then it was pouring with rain, I was soaking wet. She said, take this umbrella. So we exchanged. That was the thing. It's not all about give. It's about togetherness. That was and also, I think, telephoning over 60 past mayors, freemen and aldermen at Christmas and at Easter, and their stories and how brave they were. It was a great privilege to listen to them, and listening to people is very important. Even yesterday I received a lovely card from somebody thanking me, from John Saville, who'd been very poorly, and they wrote to say thank you. But it's not me really, it's the ethos of the council that's so important. One of my highlights also was at Christmas when I did a virtual tour of each department. And I think they were honest, and they told me about what had been good, what had been difficult, what were the joys of working at home. And you know, children are good, children are noisy, so somewhere, you know, you have to balance things. But they all talked, and they wanted to go forward, and they were positive, and they wanted to learn and do things in new ways. And that was a great honour for me, just to listen, particularly to the people running the independent living units, who felt very isolated and asked for laptops, and their work, and they were just wonderful, particularly the lady at the bereavement. That was outstanding. Of course, I've given you a wonderful picture. What about the other picture? The struggles. It has been a struggle, friends. I can't tell a lie. And getting to grips, it was that technology that did for me. If only I'd been living in Malawi still, we wouldn't have had any of that. But fortunately, my husband, I don't think I should use the word long-suffering, but that is the truth. And the ICT department were first class. They really were. And also Michelle and Anna, they would bring me back and help me. And it was always a teamwork. You never felt by yourself. My motto this year has been, let kindness continue. So let us learn from this year, all of us, and let us go forward caring for each other in this borough. Thank you, everyone. Right. And now,
Councillor Patrick, I'm going to ask you to indulge me for a second and allow me to move a vote of thanks to you as outgoing mayor. It's an honour and a pleasure for me to move a vote of thanks to you in that role as a friend and as a colleague. And what a truly fantastic job you have done this year in what might be called a difficult year, perhaps the most difficult of years. And when Broxtowe as an authority and as a council has responded so dutifully and professionally across the communities that we serve, it's you in your civic role who has stood side by side with officers, giving them that support when they needed it the most. And who'd have thought that the role of mayor in this surreal state of affairs could have been a positive one this year? Who'd have thought it could have been an uplifting role when there was so much stacked against us, when everything was being engulfed by COVID? Well, if there was one person who could have done it, if there was one person who could have overcome those challenges that we faced, it was you. So from Beeston to Stapleford, from Eastwood and Kimberley, everywhere in between, you have been the one who brought a little ray of hope to those people who've needed it most. And you've touched on them already, but your compassion has shone through in the events and the examples you were giving of how you've discharged your role over this difficult year. When nobody else has telephoned, as far as I'm aware, past aldermen and freemen and aldermen of the borough as regularly as you did to make sure that they were okay. It was your compassion for them that drove you to do that. Exemplified, I think, by the fantastic mayor's appeal, which you did with the deputy mayor and the mayor-to-be, other councillors and others supporting you. But it was your drive and enthusiasm that led that appeal along with officers as well. And of course, it's okay us congratulating you, but it's the testimony of those that received those hampers and those vouchers, people often in tears, people congratulating you, never expecting that you would have been thinking of them. And when you move to events like the Holocaust Memorial Day, it's the importance that you attribute to remembrance, to education, to solidarity with other communities that drive you to lead such a dignified service, which I know that was welcomed and appreciated by those, not just Jewish members of the community, but those of all faiths and creeds and religion and of none across the community. And you know, you kind of rounded it off with your fun side. I wish you could have played scrum off or fly off when you were reopening Nottingham Casuals Rugby Club. I wish you could have done that. And you've touched upon it, Janet. You know, there have been ups and downs this year. I won't miss you saying on a Zoom meeting, "Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello, am I on?"
I don't really
looking wishfully into the distance at someone from the council to come and help you get the computer going. I won't miss that. But you handled all those challenges so well. The list could go on and on, and I'm sure you've got many more fond memories of your time in chains, and I'm sure that both officers, but importantly the communities, recognise the efforts and the role that you have discharged with such credit this year, Janet. So I'm proud of you, and it's a privilege for me to move this vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm humbled. Right. Thank you, Hannah.
On behalf of the Liberal Democrat Group, Madam Mayor, I'd like to offer our thanks and appreciation after what has been a truly challenging year where you have stepped up, more than stepped up. I think you've stepped up 70 million feet to the challenges that COVID brought. Despite the difficulties you faced with the technology, you embraced the online meetings, and we laughed and giggled as you struggled with some of the operational issues, shall we say. But yet you still engaged, and you did more than engage, Madam Mayor, because you managed to engage the whole community in that. You managed to engage people in joining with online meetings, with online services, with memorials, with parties, and I'm really astounded just to hear all this. I work for the NHS, and it's been an incredibly challenging year for us at Nottingham University Hospitals Trust. And I've often felt a little challenged at not necessarily having the time to dedicate to the community because of my role in the NHS. But you've stepped up to that challenge in my absence, Madam Mayor, and I've been proud to serve on the Alliance with you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor, and I'm also very happy to be seconding this vote of thanks to you for the year that you've just experienced. Before I do so, I would like to put on record as well, and I hope all members would agree, our thanks to former Councillor Dawn Elliott, who has left us since the last time that we met. I think it's only right that we should mention her, the work that she did, and I well remember in my 4 years chairing the policy committee, it was Dawn who'd done the homework. It was Dawn who would tell you what was on line 4 of paragraph 68 on page 127 of an interminable report, and should be on the money with it as well. So I think she was an asset to this council that will be missed. But Madam Mayor, I was sort of in two minds. Part of me feels so sorry for you for the things that you've missed in the last 12 months, the civic receptions right across the county, your own civic ball. I'm sure it would have been absolutely fantastic.
It's going to be international.
It would have been, whatever it was, Janet, it would have been a raging success. And I think we all know that. And judging by £18,723, I think it was, that you raised without that sort of a function, Lord alone knows where we would be if you'd have been able to do all the things that mayors normally enjoy doing. And I'm sure you would have been a great host. And so part of me feels sorry for you for that. But another part of me feels incredibly proud of the way that, as others have said, you stepped up. I didn't notice you having any more technical difficulties than any of the rest of us, to be perfectly honest.
I'm not in the same...
and those
if you'd
of
have been in the same party, you would have.
Those of us that people think know how the IT works struggled, you know, am I muted, and all the rest of it. Let's hope we never have to say again. I hope we've seen the last Zoom meeting in this council, and I hope we're in a bit of a more congenial seating arrangement and more familiar surroundings the next time that we meet. But Janet, on behalf of my group, and I'm sure everybody else, we really do owe you a debt of gratitude for the last 12 months, for the way that you just got on with the job. I know at a time when we were all being cautious, you were out and about, and I bumped into you once or twice. You were planting trees. You were in Wellington boots with a shovel the last time I saw you out and about on Bramcote Park.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And if those trees
planting a tree. That was planting.
And if they're 2 metres apart, I'd like to see the meter
They are.
ruler, but let's not go into that. But Madam Mayor, very sincere thanks to you, and I just hope we can mark the year in a more social setting, and just give you, at some point later on this year, a bit of a better send-off that you've not been able to enjoy in the last 12 months. So thanks again.
Thank you so much for those kind words. I feel very humbled by them. I'm a community person, so everything I do is really with people, so it's not just me, it's everybody together. Now we come to item 5, the election of the mayor for 2021 to 2022. So I would ask for a proposer for the mayor, please. Councillor Hallam.
Madam Mayor, thank you very much. I'd like to propose Councillor Richard McRae for the office of Mayor to take over from yourself, and I would echo the sentiments that about how extraordinary a mayor you've been in these extraordinary circumstances. But now I'm going to sing Councillor McRae's virtues. So I've lived in Stapleford for a while. Richard's lived in Stapleford forever. And when I first met Richard, I had probably the same impression that we all did, if we're absolutely honest, which is that you take in the hoodie and you take in the gold teeth, and I've got to be honest. I'm very sorry, my friend, but I thought, who the heck is this knockoff Ali G, right? But I got to know you, and it was well before I became a councillor. I got to know you, just like so many people in Stapleford have got to know you, and so many people in Broxtowe have got to know you, and it's because you are a genuine person. Madam Mayor, Councillor McRae is the embodiment of what a good local councillor should be. Always there for the community, non-judgmental, always supportive. And I'm not just talking about supporting the residents. You could say that as a councillor, that's our job, but supportive of each other, irrespective of political differences, political similarities. It doesn't matter at all. Anybody can work with Richard, and Richard will work with anybody. And I think that that is an absolute testament to the character of the person who I would like to see become the mayor, and an example for the rest of us to follow. Now, sorry, Councillor Owen, I am using notes because the reason for that is I speak at about twice the rate of a normal person. Richard speaks about twice the rate of a normal person, right? So, in the 5 years that we've known each other, I actually feel like it's been 20 years worth of conversation, and I have to have some notes so that I don't go completely off on one, right? So, I've said that you're always there, Richard, and this is very heavily illustrated when I'm trying to have a conversation with you, right? When I can get a word in edgeways, which is very rarely, right? When I do finally get the opportunity to say actually, Richard, this is what I need to talk to you about, the phone will go off. And then the phone will go off again and again, and it's always a resident, and they're saying right, do you know anything about this? Can you help me with that? And your answer is, when you do know something, you'll say, yeah, you say, this is what I know. When you don't, you'll be like, I'll look into it, and I will find out, and I'll get back to you. And that's absolutely brilliant, and really, really is. No excuses, no procrastination. Just here's what I know, here's what I don't know. I'll get on it, right? Now, you're always there as well. So, I don't know how. I've heard about something as news breaks in my ward, and then I'll go, right, I better go and have a look at that. And then I come down the road and I go, oh, there's a red people carrier. I know who's already here. I don't know how. Have you got a police scanner? Right, genuinely in touch with the community, absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to wrap up, but there are three main reasons that I'm proposing Richard McRae to be the next mayor of Broxtowe. The first one is, Richard is a very good person. The second one is, Richard is a very good councillor. And the third one, Richard is a spectacular friend. So it is my honour and privilege, Madam Mayor, to propose formally Councillor Richard McRae to be the next mayor of Broxtowe.
Thank you. And do we have a seconder, please?
So, Madam Mayor, I rise tonight to second the nomination of Councillor Richard McRae as Mayor. But before I do, I'd like to just put the record straight on one or two little things. First of all, the technology issues that you reckon you have, you don't. I know that when you're sick of listening to somebody, you say, oh, my internet connection is now unstable. There'll be no more of that now on face-to-face meetings. Now you're going to have to pay attention. There's no recording and play it back. None of that, Madam Mayor. And as far as the nomination for Mayor goes, The most oft-spoken phrase during the year 2020 has been, of course, "You're on mute." The second one, of course, Madam Mayor, the second most oft statement made is that a legacy hand? But this year, Madam Mayor, the most word that's said to the Mayor is, "Richard, get your hair cut." Now, for those of us who know Councillor McRae, Richard, who I'm seconding as Mayor tonight, Madam Mayor, knows that sometimes his attire may well seem to be a little out of step with the ordinary. Although I must say tonight, he's looking a lot better. Up till a few weeks ago when his hair was bedraggled and he kept saying, "Because the barbers aren't open till March." No, Richard, when we were kids, and we used to get the bowl placed on your head and your mother would whip round the bowl with your scissors and we'd all go to school with a basin cut. Now, only those of us over 60-odd can remember those days, but they certainly did happen. So, Madam Mayor, it gives me great pleasure. I mean, Richard is an infectious person in that some of the infections you get are quite nice and some of them are quite nasty. It depends where you've been the night before. But Madam Mayor, he has got this infectious enthusiasm that sometimes drives me to distraction. I'll be quite honest with you, and I love nothing more than like when he's sitting on my yard yesterday saying, "For God's sake, Richard, shut up a minute," you know. And for that, he takes it in good humour. He's got a good sense of humour, good sense of fun. He's infectious. He works hard on behalf of the local community. Madam Mayor, I think he'll make a great representative of this borough, so long as he heeds them immortal words that the leader tells him. "Richard, get your hair cut." Thank you, Madam Mayor. I formally second the nomination.
We've had the proposal, we've had the seconder, so now we come to the vote. Councillors, I would like to ask those who are in favour of this nomination, please to raise their hands. Thank you. Any against, please raise their hands. Any abstentions? Thank you. Thank you, one and all. So now it is my enormous pleasure, actually, to declare that Richard McRae, Councillor Richard McRae, be elected Mayor of the Borough of Broxtowe until the annual meeting next year, 2022. So, Councillor McRae, would you come forward and I will move over.
I will now call upon the newly elected Mayor to read aloud and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office.
Thank you. I, Richard Danny McRae, having been appointed to the office of Mayor of the Council of the Borough of Broxtowe, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code of conduct which is expected of members of the Broxtowe Borough Council. I forgot what the date is. got a few back with me again.
The civic officer will now collect the chain to clean it before it is passed on to Councillor Richard McRae. And while we wait for this to take place, Councillor McRae will say a few words.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, those watching online and fellow councillors, I would like to thank Councillor Janet Patrick for her term as the Mayor. Whilst it's been a very difficult year, I would like to pay tribute to the work that Councillor Patrick has undertaken. She has managed to attend 291 events, both in person and online. Being able to support so many people doing well in Broxtowe to help others is always appreciated, and I can't think of anyone who can thank these people in the way that only Councillor Janet Patrick can do. Once again, thank you for your service as the past Mayor of Broxtowe.
Now it is my pleasure to congratulate you, and when we are ready, we just wait to place the chain upon your shoulders.
Thank you. Get right around. And as a token of our appreciation for your service as a Mayor over the past 12 months, Councillor Patrick, we have some gifts here for you to collect after the meeting, including your past Mayor's badge, your mayoral photo album and certificate of your achievements this year. Thank you. You may now take your seat in the chamber.
After I've done one thing,
Oh,
I think this, by the way, this is the most lovely picture. Don't you think so? It's magnificent. Even the gold.
You should have seen the one before I had my hair cut. Okay, so I'd like to ask for nominations for the appointment of Deputy Mayor for 2021-22. Do we have a proposer? Councillor Carr?
Congratulations, Mr. Mayor, Richard, to your appointment. I'm sure you'll do an excellent job, and I think we'll probably have one or two laughs during the year as well, moving forward. I rise to propose Councillor David Grindell, Liberal Democrat Councillor for Stafford South East, to be the Deputy Mayor, for the year 2021-2022. I've known David for many, many years, and I just want to use some words to describe what I think about him and what he means to myself and his fellow group members. He's, above all, a loyal person, immensely loyal person. He's respectful, he's fun. My goodness, we've needed that at some of our group meetings over the last 12 months, haven't we, David? And very, very knowledgeable about many items. He's kind, he's not backwards at coming forwards, and very importantly, he's always willing to help. You could actually say he's the Liberal Democrat version of Councillor Mick Brown, to be honest with you, but there you go. He's been a Stapleford Town Councillor for many, many years, and for that he deserves a medal in its own right. And he's also been Mayor of Stapleford, not once, but twice. So he knows how to chair a meeting, he knows what he's doing, and yes, we should have some fun during those periods when you're standing in perhaps for Richard, or you're going out to visit people. And so this is absolutely not new to him, and he will do a fantastic job. And at that I will leave it, Mr. Mayor, and I formally propose Councillor David Grindell as Deputy Mayor. Thank you.
And do we have somebody to second that? Councillor McGrath. Thank you.
Right, well done, Richard.
Thank you.
Right, first of all, I'd like to, perhaps one or two things you don't know about Councillor Grindell. I think I've been with him 14 years, maybe that on the town council. We've had some laughs, but his dedication is the best, because throughout the 14 years as we've tried to build Stayford up and get recognition of the people that work there, he had a lot to do with the Walter Parker Memorial, when him and the combined services and all that had an awful lot raising money to get that done, which, you know, the town square now looks fairly good. That's thanks to David and all the combined services lads. Also, when we had the commemorations for the, 14-18 war and this, that and the other, David again was there with Councillor Pearson, Councillor McRae, a number of us that, really put us backs into it, and David actually led us through that. And he kept us going with a laugh and a joke, and it'll be proud for once that perhaps Stayford has got 2 leading members on the civic side of the council, so that's very good. I have no problem seconding David. Thank you.
So if Councillor Grindle would like to come forward. Sorry, we need to do the vote first, don't we? Don't get all those for. That's unanimous, isn't it? There's no good asking for anything else. So well done. Now you can come forward, David.
I will now call upon the newly elected Deputy Mayor to read aloud and sign the Declaration of Acceptance of Office.
Thank you, Chief Executive. I, David Grindle, having been elected to the office of Deputy Mayor of the Council of the Borough of Broxtowe, declare that I take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of according to the best of my judgment and ability. I undertake to observe the code of conduct which is expected of members of Broxtowe Borough Council. Shaking a bit. Mr. Mayor, first of all, congratulations to you. Well deserved. For the simple reason is we know each other quite well, considering that we do a lot in our community, and it's not all just about council things. Secondly, I would like, obviously, to thank Councillor Janet Patrick. She's done a brilliant job, as everybody knows. Thirdly, I'm slightly worried, Mr. Mayor, because, you see, I understand that you're going to open a new cinema at Beeston, which is going to be brilliant for us all. But I won't be coming when you open it, for the simple reason is, Mr. Mayor, I expect you'll get me fundraising by selling peanuts and ice cream. So forgive me, because I know you'll catch me later in the year. But my job as Deputy Mayor is one thing only, and that is that I'm here to support the Mayor himself in all the things he gets up to and he wants to get up to, and fundraising. I support him 100%, and I congratulate him, and I wish to thank, first of all, Councillor Steve Carr for nominating me. There won't be any bottles of wine coming to you, and and read. And obviously, it was a pleasure to listen to Councillor John McGrath, who, in fact, yes, it's been 17 years or more, I think now, John. And I appreciate what you've said. So congratulations again, Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much for voting for me, the whole of the council. Thank you. Oh yeah, sure. Is it ready for it? Well, this is an honour. Thank you.
Make me speech. It's onto the agenda now, isn't it? Yeah. Can I just mention, I forgot to say it actually, my chaplain this year, sorry I forgot to do this a minute ago, my chaplain will be Emma Jones. She's sat at the back. I will ask her to wave so you can all see who she is. Here you go. And Emma's from the church at Montrose Court, which is in Stapleford, which is a plant of St Helens Church, and she'll be supporting me with others during my term of office. And Broxtowe Youth Homelessness, I'm sure some of you have heard of those. That's my chosen charity this year, and I look forward to supporting them. Hope we can raise them lots of money, and if anyone wants to do any fundraising, give us a shout and let's see what we can do, because they help a lot of 16 to 25-year-olds, so it's a really good charity that they support the whole of the borough. It's not just a Stapleford thing, so I look forward to that as well. Thank you. So item 6 on the, no it's not. Item 7 on the agenda is recognition of political leaders. The council is asked to note the members chosen as leader and deputy leader of the council and opposition, and the leaders of deputy leader of any other groups. Is that to you, Millen?
Mr Mayor, may I offer my congratulations to you as well for your first functions that you've performed as Mayor, and congratulations to Councillor David Grindale. We're asked to note tonight members chosen as leader and deputy leader with South Councillor Milan Radulovic, will be leader of the council, and deputy leader Councillor Steve Carr.
Thank you. Richard?
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor, and congratulations on your appointment. I look forward to working with you for the next 12 months, and I'm sure we'll have a bit of fun along the way. No changes in our group, so that's myself as leader and Councillor Paul Simpson as deputy leader of the opposition.
Thank you. Okay. So item, is anyone else that needs to speak? Okay, Steve.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The Liberal Democrat group, myself as leader, and we have a roving deputy leader, and for 21-22 it will be Councillor David Watts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Through you, Mr Mayor, can I confirm, Councillor Radulovic, that Councillor Marshall is still deputy leader of the Labour group? Thank you.
Sorry?
It was nearly your first scandal.
I was just seeing if you was paying attention. So it's item 8 now, isn't it? Okay, so item 8 is arrangements for the discharge of functions. I think I need to read this bit out. The council is asked to note that, 1, appointments of committees, working groups, etc. You'll all have a copy of that. Is everyone okay with all that? Yeah.
Through you, Mr Mayor, the arrangements are on the seats before you.
Okay. Yeah, that was an easy one. Okay, and then 2, the council is asked to note that either the leader of the council or another councillor being their nominated representative, and either the leader of the opposition or another councillor being their nominated representative, have the right to attend any of the council's committees and to speak, but not vote, provided that such representatives may be in attendance at the same meeting as their respective leaders, or either of them, as the case may be. I'm sure you all understand that. Good. Yeah, good. I thought you were going to ask me to say it again then. Okay, so that's to me. So item 9. Oh, sorry.
Could you just take a vote on that?
Oh, so that's a voting item, so I thought it was a noting one. Is everyone in favour? Anybody against? And any abstentions? No, unanimous. Next one is item 9, representation on outside bodies. Again, you should have all the sheets on your chair. Is everyone okay with those? Oh, another vote. So, all 4. And anybody against? And any abstentions? Okay, thank you. That's 9. That's all I've got on my agenda there. Right. That's it. Okay, that's it. Meeting over. Thank you for attending, everybody, and thank you for letting me be your mayor for the next year. I'm going to look forward to this, and I look forward to working with you all. You can all go home now. Thank you. Oh no, not just yet. You've got to wait, haven't you, till we've done this bit. Don't run off yet. Yeah, stay in your seats, please.
Ladies and gentlemen, pray be upstanding as the mayor retires.
That's me, isn't it? I know, that was quick, wasn't it?